We have got a lot to talk about today. New MMOs, old MMOs, new versions of old MMOs, old versions of new MMOs. Yeah, it is gonna be quite the video. But before that, let me take a moment here and give a quick thank you to every one of our patrons. You, ladies and gentlemen, are incredible. I cannot express in words how much I appreciate every single patron we have, so allow me to do that in picture form. Here you go. Yeah, that's about right. Also, if you haven't already, follow MRSSTIX and I over on Twitter. We tweet there daily. Now, let's jump into this week's weekly bite of MMORPG news. Cindersetone Online is a cute new PvE MMO currently in closed beta testing. I personally got to participate in the last beta test with hundreds of other players, and while we encountered some bugs, this was a beta test after all. So it was admittedly a much more fun experience than I had anticipated. It features a large open world and admittedly some of the most fun dungeons that I've navigated through in years, a combat system that is honestly not bad. The beta I played only had a few hours worth of content, but this most recent beta test supposedly has more. The beta test began last week, but if you want immediate access to the beta, you can purchase a Founders Pack beginning at 20 euros for the Adventurer Pack, 30 euros for the Hero Pack, 35 euros for the General Pack, and 50 euros for the High Warlord Pack. Echo of Soul has shut down and relaunched more times than Bless has. Yes, that is somehow possible. Yet players still continue to fall victim to it, and I honestly have no idea why. It is the same game with the same graphics, the same business model. Regardless, the most recent version of the game from Gamigo shut down in July of this year, and within months the intellectual property has once again been revived, this time by Papaya Play. That's actually kind of a fun name to say, Papaya Play. The same publisher of other MMOs that nobody else plays. Papaya Play. The one good thing about this revival is that they are allowing players to transfer their characters over from previous Gamigo versions. All three of you that are interested in transferring your characters over anyway. Echo of Soul is now going under the moniker Echo of Soul Ragnarok by Papaya Play. So ArcheAge to Arc World, and now ArcheAge War. XL Games is very busy recently, and for good reason. The ArcheAge intellectual property is dead. Tryon destroyed it. Gamigo took what little remained and ran it through a grinder, and Kakao have attempted to make people pay to play the garbage that it has become. And now, in yet another ArcheAge related announcement, we have ArcheAge War, a brand new name that was recently approved by the Game Rating and Administration Committee within Korea. It is unconfirmed specifically what kind of game ArcheAge War is going to be, but from what little information we do currently possess, it looks like it's going to be cross-platform compatible between PC and mobile. Kakao and XL Games are really trying to milk that Genshin money. Swords of Legends Online died the month after it launched. Despite this, MRSSTIX and I still enjoyed playing it for a little while, and even though the game never truly took off, I mean, at least it did better than Allion, right? And Allion's shutting down. The game has continued to receive updates. New regions, the free-to-play conversion, new classes. The most recent update brings with it new difficulties to existing instances, new challenges, new outfits, and a variety of other additions. This is a rather small update comparatively to updates from games like Final Fantasy XIV or The Elder Scrolls Online, but they're doing what they can. Last week we discussed Blade & Soul's brand new musician class, which admittedly looks like it could be a lot of fun as more of a supportive player. But today we're talking about something so much more important, the introduction of mounts. Blade & Soul has been around for half a decade now, longer, I think, and we've always been required to walk on foot. Yet last week it was announced that mounts would be available for players to both potentially earn and most definitely purchase. Mounts are currently available via the Treasure Trove, which you can open once per day for free, or alternatively, repeatedly open via real money. Yeah, essentially, you'll either have to be real lucky or pay for them with real money. New World has seen a steady increase in terms of players over the last month or so, and for good reason. Adequate changes were made that warranted the increased attention, with the most important alteration coming on November 2nd, fresh start servers. I'm not typically a fan of fresh start servers in MMOs. I feel like typically they're a means with which to milk players to trick them into paying for things they already had on other characters. But New World isn't pay to win, and as such I don't really foresee it being nearly as much of an issue. These fresh start servers are going to provide players an opportunity to experience a much more complete MMO than what was available when it launched last year, and I'm honestly kind of excited to be able to play it. Emrbers Adrift, a game I'm sure most of you have never heard of, is launching today on October 15th. This is a crowd-funded MMO, one that has been in active development for years. Crowd-funded MMOs aren't typically very high quality and rarely succeed, and while I'm more than open to giving new MMOs the benefit of the doubt, seeing the $30 price tag for the game including the required monthly subscription fee leaves me thinking that this is going to do very, very badly. Regardless, if you're looking for something to waste $30 to $45 on, then this might be an easy wallet burner for you. While Tower Fantasy might be releasing their 2.0 Vera update on October 20th next week, they are in the news for a very different reason. There was a massive vulnerability exploited earlier this week that resulted in potentially thousands of players losing all of their items. The exploit was abused by a multitude of different hackers, and all that was required was merely to either be in the same party as the hacker or to duel the hacker in 1v1 PvP. The devs made a public announcement several hours after this was made public and confirmed that they would be taking the game down for emergency maintenance a day later. Yeah, that is their definition of emergency. Compensation is being given out in the form of 400 dark crystals, and affected players should theoretically have their items restored over the next week or longer. Until then, you can't realistically play the game, because you don't want to lose any new items that you obtain, especially if they're doing a restore. This was about as unprofessional as we'd all anticipated it being. Torchlight Infinite has been the subject of, well, intense drama recently. Not because the game was ultimately a bad game. It was ultimately a bad game, but that is not where the drama stems from. They advertised themselves as being friendly to free players, sponsored content creators to cover their game, and after launching, decided to release with heavy pay-to-win monetization to the surprise of nobody, admittedly, but players are still not happy. Disregarding the drama, the game released into open beta early access. This is the more complete version than an open beta game, but at the same time like a less complete version than an early access game. In essence, what this means is that you can buy things in the game even though the game isn't ready to release yet. Easy money for them, I guess. The game is available on Steam, it is available on Android and iOS devices, for those of you that for whatever reason want to try it out. Chimeraland Global is suffering from a severe lack of, well, players wanting to actually play their game. It was announced earlier this week that Level Infinite would be merging together every region's servers, North American, European, and Asian. After a mere couple months of being online, every single server is a desolate husk barren of life. And in an active effort to remedy this, Level Infinite are trying to squeeze everyone together, also saving on server costs. Server merges are never a good thing for the health or the longevity of a game, but when nobody wants to play it, it makes sense to. And that is it. That is all of the MMO news that mattered to me today. If you think I missed something, please let me know down in the comments below and I'll make sure to take a look. Otherwise, I have two different videos on screen right now, one featuring every confirmed MMO that is coming this month, and one featuring the most played gacha games in 2022. These are gacha games that you should totally check out.